Long ago, in the year 428, there was a city in the Ragna's kingdom under attack by terrifying monsters. Among the chaos, we found a man named Leonis, who stood there alongside a woman named Riselia and an old man known as Ericale. Riselia, the woman, expressed her concerns. She believed waiting for a person named Shadrach and others wasn't a viable option. Ericale, the old man, had a different idea. He believed the only way to end this horrifying ordeal was to cast a spell that would burn down the entire city, monsters and human residents alike. His plan was to rely on Terrace to bring them back to life after the destruction. Ericale argued that reviving the townspeople was possible, making the act of burning them, along with the monsters, the most sensible approach. However, Leonis, who couldn't bear to witness such destruction, took a stand. He drew his sword and disrupted Ericale's spell, arguing that the idea of wiping out an entire town and then resurrecting them was too troublesome and morally wrong. Instead, Leonis decided to face the monsters head-on. He engaged in a fierce battle with the monsters, demonstrating incredible courage and skill. The townspeople, witnessing his bravery, began to cheer for him. Ericale, on the other hand, harbored concerns about Leonis. He saw the immense power within the hero wielding the holy sword and feared that this power might lead to Leonis' downfall in the future. He believed that Leonis was dangerous, and the very power that made him a hero could become his own undoing someday. We are back to the current situation, where a strange void, like a tree, has made its way into the assault garden. Meanwhile, in the control room, people were puzzled about where this void had disappeared to. Jillian, one of the people in the room, suggested that it might have crystallized again and stressed the importance of finding and eliminating it before it turns into a threat once more. Diglaus, another person in the room, mentioned that a skilled swordswoman from the 18th platoon wanted to share her findings with them. When they heard the two-digit designation, Fate thought she must be a student. Diglaus, however, clarified that she was not just any student. She was exceptionally gifted in research and data analysis and happened to be the daughter of the Fillet family. Fate added that her father had been a valuable addition to the Arms Development Council, and they should listen to what she had to say. Diglaus then connected them to the swordswoman, Elfine, and she began to explain her investigation results. Elfine reported that a few minutes ago, she had detected localized micro-vibrations in Block 62, which was part of the controlled access area beneath the assault garden. At the same time and location, she also picked up mono waveforms with distinct characteristics. After analyzing these signals and removing background noise, she concluded that they did not match any known magic device. She also noticed fluctuations in spatial mass that caused disruptions in the magnetic field, resulting in mobile network outages. Similar phenomena were observed in Block 59 just moments later. Taking all of this into account, she suggested that the data pointed to the presence of void activity within the assault garden. Heroes and the others were surprised by this revelation, and the researchers in the room confirmed that they were subtly detecting vibrations. They mentioned that they had received reports of strange noises in Block 59 and were currently investigating the source. Fate questioned why the void's feedback wasn't registering on the mana scale, and the researcher explained that the feedback level was below the scale's threshold. However, the time and location of the vibrations did match. Jillian then wondered how the void managed to enter the assault garden, and a researcher explained that there were gaps in the float module cluster's design. The void might have slipped through one of these cracks. The male researcher added that they were detecting minor damage to the bulkhead in Block 31, suggesting that the void was on the move again. Fate pondered why the void wasn't using magic, and Elfine suggested that it might be intentionally disguising its movements to infiltrate the city further. Fate expressed his surprise, as voids were not typically known for this level of intelligence. Elfine concluded by asking if they had ever found a crystal indicating the disappearance of this particular void. In the room, the people received a report about roots growing in the pantry. They sent someone to check it out. Meanwhile, in Platoon 18, Regina couldn't reach Celia, and Elfine decided to send one of her drones to the facility where Celia had gone. Regina asked Elfine if the city was under invasion by voids, and Elfine hoped there weren't too many of them. She told them to be prepared to move. Sherry had disappeared from her workplace. At a restaurant, children were having lunch. One of them, Dean, asked Leonis if he could see his holy sword, Tessara. Another child, Tessara, said Dean shouldn't bother Leonis like that and expressed admiration for Leonis being able to wield a holy sword. A team of soldiers arrived at the pantry, and they asked for further orders. The roots in the pantry became active and started attacking, so the soldiers fought back. Baldur suggested issuing an evacuation alert as soon as possible. Heroes tried to reach the commander, but couldn't get through. Jillian mentioned that there seemed to be only one target, so they should be able to handle it themselves. Baldur called a board meeting to get preparations underway. The video feed from the pantry was restored, and they found out that the Void had managed to escape. Jillian wondered what this thing was, and he noted that Void attacks were supposed to be brief and isolated. The researchers noticed the path the Void was taking and realized it was heading toward the power plant. Elfine mentioned that if this Void was a powerful one, called a Void Lord, and it managed to access the huge energy reserves in the power plant, it could trigger a big problem. Heroes then instructed everyone to protect the power plant. Jillian pointed out that the power plant had a strong defense system in place, and he sent his men there. The Void entered the power plant, and the defense system activated, shooting at the Void. The soldiers also opened fire on the Void. Meanwhile, heroes gave the order to switch the assault garden into fortress mode. They also started evacuating the citizens into shelters and prepared the military personnel for potential trouble. Everyone understood the seriousness of the situation. Jillian said he would set up his command post in the command room and asked Diglas to stay there as well. The scene changes to the children in the restaurant, and they're asking Leonis to show them his holy sword. Celia suggests that Leonis should give them a glimpse of it since the kids are asking so nicely. Leonis decides to treat the kids to an even more exciting show, and he makes some of his small skeletons perform tricks. However, the kids are grossed out by the sight of the skeletons. Meanwhile, the soldiers are still firing at the Void. Unfortunately, the intercept system in the power plant room gets destroyed. The Void then makes contact with the power plant, causing the soldiers to stop shooting because they're afraid of damaging the power plant. The Void starts draining energy from the power plant, and this puts the city on high alert. Celia notices that the assault garden is undergoing a mode shift and sees a large number of Voids attacking it. She can't believe that a stampede of Voids is happening here. The city completes the mode shift and launches a high-altitude emergency signal. Fate mentions that it will take 3 days for assistance from the capital to arrive, and wonders if they can hold out that long. Diglas mentions that they have to hold out and says they've trained their holy swordsmen well, and they're not so weak that they'd give up in just 3 days. Meanwhile, Platoon 18 is somewhere in the city, and Regina wonders what to do about Celia. Elfine explains that they're expected to defend their assigned district in emergency, and believes that Celia should be on her way. For now, they should focus on the enemies they have in front of them. The city's defenses activate, and automatic guns start firing at the Voids. Sakuya and the others equip their holy swords and engage in combat with the Voids. Witnessing this, Leonis is impressed by the humans' offensive capabilities. Celia can't get in touch with the academy, so she goes to take the children to the shelter. Leonis encounters Shirley and asks her to protect his minion friends. Shirley expresses her preference to protect Leonis, but he encourages her to go and stop complaining. Celia tries to guide the children to the shelter, but notices Voids outside, prompting her to activate her holy sword and fight them. Leonis believes that Celia has not fully realized her potential as a vampire queen. He asks Celia if she's frightened, and she admits that she is but can't run away in such a critical situation. Leonis sees great promise in Celia and doesn't want these creatures to harm his valuable minion. Celia manages to eliminate a few Voids, and Leonis takes care of the rest with a flame spell. This surprises Celia, and Leonis explains that more Voids are incoming. He notices a dragon-like Void, and it brings back memories. Meanwhile, 3 ogre-class Voids target Platoon 18, but Sakura deals with them using her lightning blade. Regina and the rest handle the Voids within a 300-meter radius. They spot a Hydra-class Void in the distance, which they find more challenging. Leonis checks out the dragon-like Void and realizes that even the mighty dragon race has been reduced to Voids. He believes that a regular spell won't be enough to defeat it if it has the same magical resistance as a dragon. He asks for the others to keep the other Voids busy while he prepares a powerful spell. Celia battles the other Voids, and Leonis uses this time to cast a spell. He wonders why he's protecting a human city, and decides he can't ignore people who pick a fight with him and his minion. He uses a level 10 spell called Semixis Jura on the dragon-like Void, which manages to bring it down, but it's not enough to defeat it. Leonis realizes that his human body slows down his ability to chant spells. Then, Blouse arrives and distracts the Void. This distraction gives Leonis enough time to cast another level 10 spell called Grand Mezic, which successfully defeats the dragon-like Void. Celia can't believe that Leonis managed to defeat such a massive Void on his own. Suddenly, the earth below Celia starts to crack open, and roots emerge, grabbing her and pulling her inside the cracks. The Void Lord emerges from the crack, and Leonis realizes that the Void Lord is none other than Erikel. This brings an end to our episode. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for more anime recaps.